Right. Okay. So if we think about the kinds of supplementation you can get them, we stick with the typical protein, which is the most common product people will see in the supermarkets. I mean, you can't go into a mall anywhere these days without seeing a health food shop. Even in some supermarkets, they've got the health aisle and everything else, and it's got this supplement, that supplement. If we think protein, you've got protein, then there'll be creatine, then there'll be whey, then there'll be branched chain amino acids. So, what for the typical consumer is the difference between each one of those? Because I know and you know, but if we break it down in terms of what the reality is.
Yeah. So you any kind of protein blend, whey protein. I mean, I barely even classify that as a supplement these days, because I kind of describe it to my clients as like, look, this is essentially like a powdered chicken breast. Like most people don't hit their protein requirements each day. Even if you go on the low sort of estimate of what people would require and this is not just to gain muscle, this is just to live and be
life,
like we say, fight sarcopenia, which is the muscle loss related to aging, this kind of thing. People don't eat enough protein just for that side of things. So that's normally, if people don't have a lactose intolerance or something like that, a pretty easy recommendation as a practitioner, because it can only help people hit that protein requirement with also super convenience. Like if you're rushed in the morning, or you've got to go, you do your morning workout and you've got to go straight to the office or whatever, it's easy to just fire a couple of scoops into a blender and into a bottle and shake it up. But yeah, that is just that. So that is a complete protein, same as what's in a chicken breast, same as what's in egg white, with some different kind of amino acid breakdown probably, but more or less, in basic terms, it is a powdered chicken breast. So it's derived from milk. That's the only thing where people sometimes run in. Maybe they're vegan, or they're, like, say, lactose intolerant or something like that, where you can find now like vegan protein powders, pea protein isolate, rice protein, things like that, where you can substitute that in, but same idea. Branched chain amino acids, on the other hand, are definitely starting to see a death now, but particularly because of the amount of research that has come out about them. So branched chain amino acids are 3 of the 20 amino acids found in your whey protein, basically, or any protein. And it was thought for a long time they're kind of the main amino acids that trigger muscle building and trigger muscle protein synthesis, so that they were pushed as this kind of, you can give yourself this extra boost. But the way I would probably describe them is, it's like switching on a light switch. If there's no power behind you can switch on muscle protein synthesis with the branched chain amino acids, but if you don't have the raw materials of the other 17 amino acids, they're bugger all use.
Yes.
So if you're having, this has been shown time and again in the most recent research, that if you've got enough protein in your diet, branched chain amino acids do nothing.
Thank you. It's nice to have someone else say that, because I was going to say the exact same thing.
They literally do nothing, and they are very cheap for supplement companies to produce. They literally kind of these raw powders that they can just mix together very, very cheaply and sell them at a great markup. And they really just do nothing. So that is a big avoid on that one. Then creatine,
Sorry, go on.
No, and then creatine is aside from all that, actually another easy recommendation for me most of the time. It's essentially the fuel that your cells needs throughout your body is ATP. The P is ferrophosphate, and creatine phosphate essentially gives your body more of these phosphate molecules to create and recycle energy. So you can think of it as adding more immediate fuel to the fuel tank of your muscles, your organs, your brain, all this stuff. And again, it's another supplement that has a huge body of research behind it. It's incredibly safe. It is effective. It's one of those ones that we know does, yes, you have non-responders to it, but if you're a responder, it is incredibly effective, and it's incredibly cheap, which is fantastic. This is one where, like, this is the win for the common people, because supplement companies can't really do much else. Like, creatine is creatine. It's cheap to produce. They sell it for cheap, and it works. So it's one that's also not going to break the bank in terms
Yes.
of adding it to your regimen.
So you mean to say that creatine is not a steroid?
Oh no! Yeah, did you know? Yeah, that's the classic misconception as well. No, I mean, creatine is found in your, particularly in red meat and animal products like that. But to really reach what we call like muscle fullness, muscle saturation of creatine, you really have to supplement. And again, it's very easy. You just 3 to 5 grams a day, every day, till the end of time, and then you'll eventually saturate your muscles full of creatine,
Sure.
and it's just going to give you that particularly explosive power. So when we're talking about kind of any kind of strength training, in terms of if we're talking about rep ranges, about 8 to 10 reps, you're probably going to start running out of creatine and not using that pathway. Even that's on the high end of things, but it is going to help you just with that slight bit of endurance when it comes to your strength training. But there's also some really good quality research behind just using creatine as a health promoting supplement, particularly in what we call I hate the word detox, but liver detoxification. What your liver doesn't actually, you don't need a supplement for, but when your liver filters out these toxins and stuff that it needs to filter out in what we call phase 1 detoxification, it uses creatine and it uses ATP, it uses energy, it uses phosphate to help that process. So creatine there's been some interesting studies to show that it helps with that. And then also weirdly, but it kind of makes sense because your brain needs energy. In terms of cognitive function, attention span, and some other mental health, as in brain health, not mental health, brain health benefits, creatine's been shown to have some big positives there as well. So it more and more just becomes kind of a no-brainer. If you're vaguely into training and vaguely into fitness, you throw 5 grams, a very small scoop, into your protein shake, and you're golden.
Hi, thanks for watching this clip. If you enjoyed this content, click here to watch the full unedited version of this episode.